Let's receive the person of Pastor Dr. Philip Igbinijesu.
My connection with this group is multidimensional. I'm a participant, I'm a participator, I'm on the board of a couple of the group, the companies, and but much more, and I don't say that lightly. I have a clear understanding that this group is a special vehicle from heaven to make a difference in lives. So my sense of responsibility towards this group is beyond my love for the Onwu Marys. I love them, heaven bears me witness. I love all the phenomenal friends I've made and the leaders. I love them. But honestly, as much as I love them, I have a spiritual understanding of the implications of what God has birthed through these people. And so every time I'm privileged to speak, I'm coming from a perspective of that knowledge and the need to do all that is required to perpetuate the success, to consolidate the success, and to ensure that it is easily replicable. So in the next few minutes, when I got to know, I will say some things here. I just had to ask the Lord, and the Lord gave me something which unfortunately I don't have all the time to drill through, but I'm going to leave the materials with our leaders, and they will determine how, if they choose to pass it on. It is from the book written by two people. Let me just get into it. Give me the next slide quickly. Let's run. Built to Last. I'm sure you can remember that book, Built to Last: Successful Habits of Visionary Companies. And I think in many respects it's a vision, it's a model for the P1 group, especially as I saw that P1 group, and this is no exaggeration, this is not trying to be patronizing, is already on the pathway to being all of these, because you will see as I go ahead. Give me the next slide very quickly. Let's pay some quick compliments. This has been done. We can never do enough. Our visionary founders. The next one, the executive chairman. The next one, the executive vice chairman. The next one, our acting group managing director. And of course, the next one, all the group executive directors. If you don't mind, can you give them a good God bless you and one more time? Give me the next slide quickly. That's the book. I want to encourage, please read this book. Read this book. You heard Dr. Linus. You heard our global president. Read this book. I'll leave it at that. You know, Jim Collins and Jerry Porras. One of the things I love Jim Collins for, Jim Collins is not a theoretician. It's not just somebody who pontificates on what should be done, which anybody who is smart can go on Google and pick up. Everything he writes from practical hands-on research. So in this particular book, it was a product. I think I put it there. Give me the next slide. Give me the next slide quickly. Run with me, please. Okay, this book is based on a 6-year research project analyzing 8 visionary companies. And what was the intention? The intention is, why do some companies last and others don't? I'm sure any investor will be interested in that. Why? And these are not a question of location or a question of the type of industry, but about, non-negotiable values and principles, indispensable, such that in knowing and engaging them, you can predict the future. You can conveniently and comfortably tell what is going to be the outcome. Of course, I do executive coaching, but at the same time, I'm a pastor and a teacher of God's word. One of the things I know is that from patterns and precedents, you can predict the future, and that is biblical. And that is even scientific. Okay, so that's exactly what they did in this book, and they came out with certain principles. We're just going to rush through them in a minute each, and then, knowing that I'm dealing with a largely cerebral audience, I would expect we'll go and interrogate it and deepen our knowledge and understanding, but much more engage them and ask the critical question: to what degree are these things true for our organizations? What are the gaps? What are the learning curves that we must engage? What are the things we must do? Because Ladies and gentlemen, P1 is designed for multi-generational impact. So that's the plan of God, and we don't have an option than to operate and go by the standards and the patterns that people have over the years always engaged in order to get the right kind of result. Let's run with it quickly. The next one, the first one he talks about is the need to preserve the core and stimulate progress. This is exactly from the book. I'm using their language. Okay, to preserve the core at the same time, not against it, but they must go hand in hand. Stimulate progress. The core is essential. The core speaks to the vision and the core values of the organizations. But in the midst of that, we must be able to tweak it and adapt it and engage it in such a way it does not stifle one of the many things that Lionel spoke to. It must also be innovative and open enough to create opportunity to be able to make needed progress. For instance, I do believe, like in this our industry, we must begin to engage technology more. One of the huge costs I know we carry is site visitation because of vehicle maintenance staff and all of those things, and the problem of traffic and security and all of that. But we can use technology. We can use technology in certain climes of the world. You start and conclude everything about real estate on technology. As you are talking, you are looking at your property and all of those things. I believe we can invest in technology. 120 companies cannot have 120 vehicles on the road going to visit site. That would just not be right. There's got to be the need to do some things that can occasion the difference for us. Let's run number two. Let's go. I won't have the time for the examples. Number two is what he calls the bags, the big, hairy, audacious goals. The global president has always been upfront on this, pushing the ante, raising the lead and causing everyone to try and expansion. Mention it again today, everyone to do 10 10 10, no matter where you are, produce 10. I was in a meeting, she was talking about every affiliate must be able to start 12 other affiliates. She's always pushing it. Every company that does not stifle, stagnate and start retrogressing are companies that are continually pushing the limit. Continuously, they never come to a place where they feel they are there. We must keep creating. For instance, is it possible for P1 Group to set a mandate to become, for instance, the real estate one in a specific country of generating $1 billion in sales within a decade? Making $1 billion is no longer news for us. It's no longer news. So what we are looking for now is the first $1 billion company. Which affiliate do you think is going to come from first? I didn't hear the name of the affiliate. Can you shout it? Okay. Heaven has heard. We've got to push. We've got to push. And even individual PPOs must begin to push their limit too. Companies that do well, companies that don't stagnate, always have a reason to leave. Something new, something more. After every accomplishment, they set a new goal. Because it's so easy to settle in that which we have done, thinking that is the end of the matter. Always remember that in God and with God, of the increase of his peace and government and blessings, there shall be no end. Very important. Number three, of course there are examples. One of the examples I love here was Boeing, but let's jump. The next thing is the cult-like culture. We are getting there. If you notice, the what do you call it, chief of staff of His Excellency the governor of this great state mentioned his excitement in noticing the camaraderie that was between our people when they came out to celebrate. He noted it. Of course, maybe it's the first time he's seen it. He needs to know that P1 will even do better than that. But beyond open celebration, there's got to be a cult-like culture. That's the language Jim Collins and Jerry Porras used in that book, Built to Last. They talk about a cult-like culture, which is visionary companies create strong, deeply embedded cultures with clear values and high expectations by developing a strong sense of community among PBOs through mentorship, exclusive training, and leadership development. There must be internal competition, positive, but there must also be internal koinonia, connection, communion, coming together where we promote and project one another like a cult-like following, a cult-like culture where we project and promote what belongs to us. As a matter of fact, honestly speaking, It's the attempts and the excellence at which that has been done in the last few years that I know of that has significantly contributed to where we are right now. The necessity to protect internally everything that we are together. That's what it's been. And I think we can do much more. Give me the next slide. There are examples for all of it, like some real estate company and others. But let's move on. Number 4 is to try a lot of stuff and keep what works. And keep what works. We cannot be fixated on methods and methodologies. We must be experimental. We must be flexible. We must not get settled down on what used to work, because we live in a world where once it exists, it's already obsolete. Once it exists, it's already obsolete. That which used to work may no longer work. You will discover that all the affiliates companies that are breaking the boundaries and pushing and doing better are those who are able to think outside of the box. So we must be ready to try stuff and keep what works. That also means if it's not working, bury it. Stop using it. New methods must be engaged to be able to enter new frontiers and gain new markets and gain new heights and gain new bottom line. It's so important. And they mentioned that organizations that survive, like many organizations that went under because they could not pass the cusp of innovation. They just couldn't move on. They head on to what was going on, like rearranging a sitting position on a sinking Titanic. They were insisting on their sinking position, and the Titanic is sinking, and the companies all sank, and we've seen great companies just disappear. That cannot be our portion. So what do? We've got to be able to try new stuff, lots of stuff, and hold that to which works. I see that about the God who loves diversity so much, never healed two people the same way, never preached a message the same way, created all of us different in height, in shape, in color, in character, in everything. Our God is a God that loves diversities. So in our engagement, I mean, if you visit any aquarium and see the diversities of God's creation, you'll be wondering, what was God thinking about? I think it just takes a delight in variety. So in our thinking and engagement, we must also be able to have certain patterns and standards, non-negotiables. But when it comes to the methodology of being able to achieve and attain them, there must be enough flexibility to permit individuality, creativity, and all kinds of things that will make for we getting the right kind of result. That's what great companies that are able to build and last have engaged over the years. We have several examples, but please go ahead. Now the next one, which we are very good at, is homegrown management. Homegrown management, internal talent development and succession planning. The ability to understand that the best people to perpetuate a vision are people who grew within the vision. Now outside experts can come as consultants and speakers and trainers, but when it comes to ownership, it's always a mistake. Great organizations have always discovered over the years that the best succession planning is internal succession planning. The people that are homegrown, we're already good at that, so let me not spend time on this, but we must keep creating more. It's one of the challenges the acting group managing director and the group board is going to have to deal with is that this is an organization where many are so dynamic, so progressive. We must keep ensuring that there is room created at the top, ingenious, different ways to keep ensuring that no matter how high you rise, there is a new placement, there is a new dimension, that continental, national, or certain things and certain other opportunities. We must keep doing that so that we don't create a situation where we become too top heavy and people don't have room for aspiration to get somewhere. Because if we do that, what happens is that naturally they find some other places to go to. So we must keep maintaining the discipline and the pattern that we have right now within the group that has to do with homegrown management. Give me the next slide. All right, no, give me the next slide. We don't have time for examples now. Number 6 is clock building, not time telling. I love this. Jim Collins was very particular about the need to build scalable systems. Scalable systems that allow for sustainable growth, such as automation in lead generation, training, and commission tracking. Rather than relying on charismatic leaders, visionary companies focus on building sustainable systems and strong organizational framework. What that means is that we should be dealing more with systems than with individuals. P1 is not in short, it's not short of great talent. intelligent people, daring, creative people. But we can't build a sustainable organization on the individuality of our skills and capacities. It must be built on systems that are scalable, repeatable, duplicable. Systems that anywhere we just put it and replicate it somewhere and boom, we get the same result. That's how organizations that are able to go from generation to generation have done it. Give me the last one. Give me the last one. The last one, number 7. Good enough never is. There's nothing like good enough. There is the biggest room in the room is always the room for improvement. Good enough never is. Visionary companies are never satisfied with the status quo and constantly push for improvement, continuously innovate training programs, sales techniques, and client engagement. I've said this before, I want to repeat it. I don't think we will be doing well if we are leaving all the thinking to the group board. I think it's time for us to have an R&D department. I really do. I've said this, I think I said this a few years ago, I want to repeat it. This organization needs an R&D department. Continuous research and think tanking. People that will keep thinking, just their job is to think and give us the kind of results that is necessary so that we can stay ahead of industry's trends and lead and be in charge of everything. Can I close? Give me the last one. Give me the conclusion. Leave it at conclusion. No, go to conclusion. Let's jump. My time. Conclusion. Leave it here. By applying these principles, P1 can build a resilient and prosperous business. Long-term success depends on balancing tradition with innovation. I'm sorry I had to rush, but please bear with me. God bless you.